Hey guys, so it's been a week that I've been accused of being this Trump assassin. And I got to tell you, a couple of things I wanted to share with the folks out there. While there's still some people that are going with this insane narrative, I brought guns to the rally. I was trying to take guns in. I mean, first and foremost, all that's untrue. And as this unfolds, you guys are going to see how untrue it is and how everything I've said is correct. But the word I wanted to put out there though is this week we saw something that's never ever happened in history. Well, a couple of things. The first thing that we saw that's never ever happened in history is somebody like myself be accused of wanting to assassinate the president when, as the evidence will show, I know there's some people talking shit out there, but whatever, I couldn't care less about that part. There's other things I do care about, though, like the harassment of my parents. Recently, they got an eviction notice, like 5-day eviction notice, because, apparently, once in a while when I stay at their house, they're harboring a terrorist, basically, the two things that we saw that have never ever been seen before. Okay, firstly, I truly did literally drive up to as I was driving up to the entrance of the parking lot, I truly did tell the police officer myself that I had guns. It wasn't discovered. It wasn't found through an investigation. No, like I literally rolled up and told the officer that, hey, I have guns, 2 guns in the back of the truck, and even offered to give it to him to basically hold on to and put it in like a police car's trunk if they were at all nervous. So, I mean, what's going to become apparent is that this will be 100% other than for people that are truly disillusioned. I mean, there's some people out there that you'll never convince because they're just crazy or they have an agenda or, they're so in love with the sheriff that they refuse to believe that all the mistakes were made by him and his department. But that's going to come to light. And yeah, I promise you that, And there's some surprises here because I know information that a lot of people don't know that I'm not going to even talk about right now, but, you're going to see. So let's put that part to rest. The second thing that we've never seen before is that, like, the entire mainstream media apparatus came after me and my name, right? It was almost simultaneously Vem Miller, this assassin, Vem Miller, this assassin. The whole world, I was getting messages from literally every corner of the world. Half the nations of Europe, which, I've visited and met people over the last 30 something years, people getting in touch with me that I haven't heard from in like a decade or two, and so this thing spread like it was one of the most instant and overwhelming mainstream media stories, right? And I'm going to do a proper thank you for all the people involved, by the way. This is not it. This is kind of like the summary version. But our ragtag group of patriots, and I know who you are, and I know, like it's just amazing. It's amazing, that you guys supported me. And I'm sorry to get emotional, but I never expected it. And we literally turned this immense tide of bullshit and turned it back. And the truth came out. And it took like literally, 24, 48, 72 hours for that to happen? And I've just never seen anything like it. I've seen the bullshit go away, like, 9/11, things coming out about 9/11, and it takes years, decades, a lot of time. But what we did this weekend, you know who you are, was so powerful, and it gives me a lot of hope. It really gives me a lot of hope for the future because this mainstream media is a cancer, and that's why I started AmericaHappens.com. That's why since 2007 I've been so passionate about this, raging against mainstream media, because they are the key component of why the fake news, the propaganda, whether it's lies about the Iraq war that gets us into calamities, kills, potentially millions of lives, destroys the health and well-being of so many of our soldiers, destroys our financial resources, you know? The lies of the COVID pandemic, which apply to this episode that I'm about to play of Blood Money. And on a more microcosmic level, things like what just happened to me on an individual level, you know? And I thought, like, I knew that day was coming, that they would come after me in one way or another. I just wasn't expecting the support that I got. So anyway, I'm going to stop being a bitch crying here and say that I'm very excited that just a week after all this craziness started, I'm happy again to present you an episode of Blood Money, which is frankly what I love to do, you know? And this amazing episode features two of my favorite frontline doctors who stood up to the tyranny, paid a price for it, were harmed, you know, just like I've been harmed for standing up for what's right. Donald Trump's been harmed. They've gone after Elon Musk. They've gone after Alex Jones. You know, they've gone after so many of us, you know. They've gone after Ivan Ranklin, but apparently when they go after that guy, these demons tremble. And there's some really cool videos that we've done with dudes literally shaking when faced with Ivan Ranklin. And you could see that demon in their body just pulsating out. So anyway, I'm happy to bring you Blood Money episode 258 with Dr. Reneta Moon. We'll talk soon. We're going to dive in hot and heavy on this one because I just interviewed Colonel McGregor, and it's going to, we're going to start, So we're here at the Rescue the Republic event, and who am I speaking with right now?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Reneta Moon. I'm a practicing pediatrician.
Okay, so for people watching this actual interview, what I'd like you to do is watch the Colonel McGregor one we just did, because in the Colonel McGregor one, because I need to tee it up properly, right? With the amount of corruption we're talking about, which is what lovely lady is about to talk about what she went through, I mean, it would seem as though we are at like a dead end in this country, because the story you just told me off camera is actually shocking. Please tell us what happened to you.
Yes, I'm a practicing pediatrician. I'm not seeking the limelight. This is nothing about that. I am just alarmed by what I've been seeing. So 2 years ago, I was very alarmed about what was happening with the COVID shot recommendation for children. Why in the world would anyone give them an untested product for a condition that we knew had a really low risk of fatality for the children? So I spoke as a private citizen at a U.S. Senate hearing held by Senator Ron Johnson, where I simply said, look, there's an increase in myocarditis. We're seeing it in our community. The package insert for the mRNA shot is blank. So how does anyone know what they're injecting into a child if they give this to them? We're being censored and silenced. And other nations have made other choices for their young people because the risk is too high in their estimation. So that's really all I said. I was giving my anecdotal testimony. My medical school employer was very unhappy that I had spoken at that U.S. Senate hearing. And they sent a letter. So you can all read the letter online. I'll tell you where to look. You can read it for yourselves. But they basically came after the content of what I had to say. A few months later, they terminated my employment with them as a professor of medicine. And a week or two after that termination, by not renewing my annual faculty contract, they reported me to the Washington State Medical Board to investigate my medical license for unprofessional conduct, with the allegation being that I had spoken at that Senate hearing. This is absolutely an outrage. We can't have a situation like this where we can't speak. But yeah, that's exactly what's happening in America. We are being targeted, we're being persecuted for simply speaking. Now, I do want to say on the record, and I've said this before many times, I never ordered this COVID shot for a single child. They didn't have the data to tell us that it was safe enough to be giving to our nation's children. So I never had ordered this COVID shot for any of my patients. But this is about our ability to speak. We need to be able to speak, and especially to our own government.
So on the America Happens Network, we've interviewed a lot of the frontline doctors whose lives were absolutely destroyed because of this. I'm just going to name some of the names. If any names come to you too, I want the viewers to hear this because this is a reoccurring thing. And you hear the anger in me because for the last 3 years, I've been talking to individuals like this lovely lady who all they wanted to do is do their job and save lives. And their lives were destroyed. We talk about Dr. Makis from Canada. We talk about Dr. Chris Shoemaker, I believe is right here, down here, because he said people shouldn't take this shot. They took his medical license. We talk about Dr. Peter McCullough. Until a year ago, they started acknowledging that this man is actually in the forefront of his field. They try to make him seem like a crazy person. Do other names come to mind? I guess Malone. I guess, Karen Kingston's not a doctor, but she's a researcher, a pharmacology researcher. They went after her to destroy her.
Ryan Cole, a good friend of mine. They're all good friends of mine. Look, this is outrageous. This has...
Dr. Batar, who died under very suspicious circumstances. And people should be pissed because these are the people that are going to save our lives. And rather than that, what they're doing is now they're grooming a new generation to be sheep. Literally sheep under a bunch of Nazis with their death plan. And I'm sorry that's strong dialogue, but when you have a jab that's killing children, that I just interviewed a firefighter who believed this nonsense. The guy's had heart failure at 35 years old. And we keep hearing these stories. And the people that are the brave ones that are trying to save lives, the system is going after. And so many of you out there are silent about it.
I've been speaking out about this for several years now. I started speaking out in early 2022 when I became aware of what was happening. But our voices are so silenced. It's absolutely unbelievable. I'm at the peak of a career that I worked very hard for, but I will give it all up in a heartbeat if I need to so that we stay free. Right now, we are not a free people. You are not a free citizen right now. You can't speak. You have lost so much freedom. It is time to stop being politically correct. It is time to stop being polite. And it is high time to start yelling at the top of your voice about this. This must stop. What will they inject our children with next? What will they inject our children with next if dissenting voices are silenced? I also know of way too many people who have been clearly injured by this shot. There's no doubt. The young 23-year-old who's had several heart attacks and just recently had a pacemaker put in.
I'm sorry. I was calling Dr. Shoemaker in. I just want you to pop, sir. I just want you to pop in here. We're filming right now. Just lean down a little because I want people to see you. Go down. There you go. Hi. Dr. Shoemaker, we were just talking about a wonderful doctor, Canadian doctor, stood up against this COVID nonsense, and you paid a price. You paid a price too.
I paid a price. When you and I did the interview, it was about 1.25 years ago. For 1.25 years, I fought my college, saying the simple truths. Ivermectin saves lives all over the place. Best thing that could save Canadian lives, let's use it. They never responded to that. Canadians continue to die because they don't get it for COVID-19. They're not allowed to get ivermectin. Yeah. And I said another thing, of course, that there was multiple risks with the vax, multiple risks, and you know from your research in the last 1.25 years how it's gone. So that's what's been my life, continuing to fight, continue to tell the truth. They have officially removed my license as recently as 4 weeks ago by their own choice.
They removed your license. You no longer have a medical license.
Because doctors cannot have freedom of speech to tell things. If I stood up and said penicillin works for strep throat, would they have taken my license away? No, because I'd be telling the truth. Well, guess what? Ivermectin works to cure COVID-19, and it works to help COVID-19 vaccine injuries. And that's the truth. So, ladies and gentlemen watching, save your lives. Tell your politicians to get ivermectin allowed for nurse practitioners and physicians. We know how to use it, and to not use it is medical malpractice.
Wow, we're looking at two heroes here that went against the grain, paid a price, And I'm honored. I'm honored to be around you. You know, sir, I've interviewed you. Much love to you. I mean, I feel so like blessed that people like you exist, and really amazing story, amazing what you've done. It's sad. It's really a sad time that we're living in, that we have to deal with this nonsense. They're murdering our children. These are crimes against humanity, if you ask me.
These are absolutely crimes against humanity. I never gave this shot out to a single patient, but I have run into so many young people across our country who have been damaged clearly by this shot. Now, if you're a 95-year-old who has a stroke, it's harder to make the case. But when you are a 23-year-old and you have had heart attacks and a stroke and you have been healthy your whole life until you've had this shot, it's obvious what happened. It's obvious.
And still people on my
difficult.
And still people on my Facebook, who includes a bunch of Hollywood people, are like, oh, it could be something else. And I'm just like, I can't even talk to you people. I can't do it.
I can't talk to these people anymore. I wear a bracelet on my wrist because the father of a young man who died gave this to me. This young man died a week or so after he was given a dose of the mRNA product. He died on the basketball court. He died suddenly, okay? His dad is grieving his loss. This is terrible what's happened. And on autopsy, he was found to have myocarditis. We have to stop this. They are killing some of our young people. This is a deadly product for some of our nation's children and adults and really everybody, okay? This has got to stop. They're silencing physician voices, and we are done. We are done with this, but we need the public's help. You must be loud, because this is not the kind of world you want to leave for your children and your grandchildren. Now, I promised you, you can look at the data, not the data, but the letters that were written as they came after this physician for Simply Speaking. If you want to see the letters, please look at silentmajorityfoundation.org, silentmajorityfoundation.org. Go to Medical Freedom, look up Dr. Moon, M-O-O-N, that's me, and you can look at the actual documents that were written by the medical school, by the Washington Medical Commission, as they came after a physician for doing her job for speaking, okay? This is how tyrannical this has become. This does not go forward in any good way if we don't stop it.
Thank you. Sir, do you want to give your social media website?
No, not at all. I would just like to compliment Dr. Moon. What she and Dr. Corey and the others and Dr. Cole on the stage said and did today was fantastic. It told the real stories of real clinicians doing their best to save people's lives. And why are we having to save their lives at age 17 and age 23? It's because they've had 40 trillion little razors put into their body, because physically the spike acts like micro razors that are damaging to the endothelium. It damages the internal tissues in a variety of ways, and then things happen to beautiful young patients of this dear doctor. Dr. Moon knows how to, I'm going to leave you with Dr. Moon. I love you, and thank you for allowing me to jump in.
Thank you.
Because
you so
we're all
always great to see.
We're doing our best
together. Yes, we
and
are.
you are.
Yes, we are.
Thanks,
Thank you
Dr.
so
Moon.
much. I want to add one more, is that just a few weeks ago, I had dinner with a lovely young lady. She's in her early 20s. She was so healthy. She joined our military. She could run miles and miles without any real issue. She was so healthy. As you know, to join the military is a big deal. She had these shots. Within a short interval of time of having these shots, she had several heart attacks. She had a mini stroke. She now has a pacemaker put in. And she's not allowed to even drive a motor vehicle because she still may pass out. They have trashed her heart, and this is all documented by military records. This is unbelievable. We cannot have a deadly product out there such as this product. Now, has it been deadly for everybody? Of course not, but it's been deadly for some, and that has got to be pulled off the market. These young people and everyone needs to understand the risks of taking this. And right now, we don't even know what those risks fully are because we don't have long-term studies. I've had enough. The American public has had enough. We have all had enough. This has got to stop. So thank you for listening.
Thank you for joining us, guys. And really follow all of our doctors on our website. We have a show called Medicine Cabinet. We have Meet the Frontline Doctors. These are the heroes. These are the people you need to be listening to. And I just really pray for this country, because this is a real bummer. It's a bummer watching heroes like you courageous people like you having to deal with this nonsense. I mean, it makes me so angry because you type of people are the ones that we should be exalting and looking at like leaders and following that great lead. Instead, they're building a medical industrial complex with a bunch of sheep that'll go along with these death projects, and that is unacceptable. So thank you for joining us for this episode of Blood Money. I will see y'all on the next episode. Take care.